Welcome to the What About Podcast, show where two friends get together to talk about a different topic each week. This week, we begin the last series, duology.
I think duology is the right word for this.
Chupa thingy in this alien marathon that we've got going on here. And man, is it a doozy. This is the one about AVP, Alien versus Predator. I am your host, Dean. I also go by endless collab places around the internet. And I am joined this week, as always, by my man, John. John, what has been going on in your world this week? Please give me an update on the PS5.
Oh, shit. I have been avoiding looking at that right now, but I'll actually go look and see if they actually acknowledged that they received it. Because if they didn't, please. We just might end this right here, and I'm just going to leave and drive to Texas. So...
Why drive to Texas when your boy can just figure it out for you, who's already in Texas?
Because Jason's not going to take the time to go over there and, figure that shit out.
Man, I'll hit up Jason. He'll do it for me.
Probably. That's the worst part. Makes me really sad, but it's the truth. You guys bonded, when you guys met up. Was that your first time meeting Jason?
No, not at all.
It's like your third? Second?
I don't know. I honestly, I feel like I've known him my whole life.
Get the fuck out of here. I hate you so much. Check your status. Enter my number. Oh, look, my number's saved in here because I put it in so many times.
What happened?
Your product was shipped on 9/27. Your tracking number is... What the fuck? They already sent it back?
Look at that.
Scheduled delivery Thursday, September 30th. Is there a dossier on what was wrong with it? Or are they just sending me back a bricked PS5?
That would be fucking awesome.
Dude, I would...
They're just sorry, bro.
I would be so fucking pissed.
I would fucking die, dude. They're just oh.
No, okay, so, they're not giving me any information. They're just straight up was okay, here's your case number. I'm going to send you a screenshot of this amazing support tracker that we got here. Yep, there you go.
Please do.
For how much I love Sony and PlayStation, this is probably the worst customer service experience I've ever had. Period. For something...
Which is interesting
for
PlayStation. Every experience I've ever had with them has been very, very good. But, recently I've heard that this is kind of a problem for them.
Oh, it's 100% a problem.
So here's a fun story, right? So you know how at the very tail end of why does that picture look so bad? Of the PS4 life cycle, I bought a PSVR because I just couldn't help myself anymore.
Yeah.
Totally worth it. But as it turns out, they were when the PS5 came out, well, you can't use the PS5 camera for PSVR for reasons that we're not going to explain. But we will provide a free adapter if you have a PSVR. We'll just give us your little ID number so that we know that it's yours and you can't claim multiples of these, and we'll ship it out to you free of charge. I was all right, cool, dope. So I went onto the website. Didn't work for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When it finally did work, I got in there, put in my shit, gave them my information. They're all right, cool, we got your order, we'll send it out. I have not heard a word since then. That was in January.
I'm so sorry.
So I'm pretty sure I'm not going to get it.
Watch, it just shows up randomly and shit.
I know. I mean, honestly, I have a package coming on Thursday, and I don't know what it is. So, I mean, we'll find out. Maybe that's it.
Surprise, it's a naked strippogram.
Man, that'll be a hard one to explain to the wife. I swear to God, I didn't know.
He's got PlayStation Sony tattooed on his ass.
It's a male stripper. So, just give me a read. Did this improve or make worse your experience with video games.
He's like taking a survey and it's like on his dick. Like that's the notepad. So I found the email. They actually sent me an email at 9:16 a.m. yesterday.
Telling you they were sending it back, or what's wrong with it?
Literally, it's just like, your system is on its way. Great news, your system has been repaired and it's on its way back via FedEx. And then it's just basically saying, you know you're anxious, you want to play your game. It usually takes 3 to 5 business days. Here's a tracking number. It doesn't say what was wrong with it, what they fixed. Like, I'm going to look at the serial number. If the serial number does not match what I gave them, I'm going to have a problem.
Oh, you took like a picture of your shit?
Yeah. Like, okay. I was super sincere.
I'm really interested to find out.
Because they could, like, I feel like, I know this is looking a gift horse in the mouth, but it seems like this was a pretty quick turnaround from the estimates that I was given. Because it said 20 to 30 business days. Like, either that's an incredible business model to lower everyone's expectations, so when they send it back within like a week, they're super ecstatic and happy about it. I was like, wow, PlayStation's amazing. Or they're just like, this shit's bricked. Just send him one of the ones we got in the back, like a new model, and then go from there. And just make it seem like we fixed the shit. Because without...
technically, they did.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I don't know what they did. I don't know if they had to wipe my hard drive. I don't know if they're sending me a new unit altogether. I don't know if they just changed out a part. So is my warranty on the unit itself or just that part? Because right now, I believe the manufacturer warranty is going to wear out in a week. Because it dropped, November 18th? 13th. November 13th?
Sure. Yeah. I don't remember. November.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about the exact day.
Oh, I care because I was on the cusp.
Right now you do.
I was on the cusp.
That's fair.
I would have had to pay for this. I was like, no. I mean, I would have done it. I wouldn't have been happy about it. But
I mean, it's a year, right?
Yeah, it's a year. Like, usually manufacturer warranty is a year. No. Like,
2 months, bro? Like, come on.
Dude,
you were on the cusp.
If this shit bricked any later, like... Oh...
I understand what you mean, though.
Yeah, because you bought yours from Amazon?
Yeah.
And Amazon has that shitty warranty, but their warranty service is really bad. Like, the warranty company associated with Amazon, which I believe is Assure, or is something with an A.
That sounds right.
They're terrible. Like, we try to handle the boys' tablets, and, like, we couldn't even get to the part where we could send it to them because the information that they were asking for was weird. They didn't send us the package to send them the stuff. Like, it was just a mess. So where we just got him a new tablet. I mean, he broke it anyways, but still, it shouldn't have gotten to that point. But I don't know. Like, I'm the type of person that likes to know what happened and what you did to something that you're sending back to me.
Sure.
Especially since it's a PlayStation 5, which is seen as like the holy grail right now. It's still really hard to get, right?
Yes, extremely. Although they finally put some in stores, so that was a thing.
I'm surprised I didn't hear, like, stories of looting, robbing, and stabbings when they put them in stores.
No, I mean, there are people waiting outside for upwards of 14 hours, but...
Oh, so basically Black Friday-ish?
Yeah, basically.
Like, you just got a dude just, like, someone's opening up Best Buy, and he just comes in, flips out his chair, and just sits down there. What are you doing? Waiting for the PS5, bro. You already know what's up.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, speaking of Black Friday, I actually am hankering to get some good stuff. Like, I need to update some stuff on my computer.
I am looking for storage on Black Friday.
Are you looking external, internal? It's like we already had this conversation, right?
Yeah, this is the text message that you never replied to me about.
First of all, I didn't reply to you on that text message, yes, but then you called me, and then we talked about it.
No.
Yeah. I remember that conversation.
You're thinking about the first time that I asked you about this. This was the same day that I bought Phantasm for you.
Oh. wait. Look, I'm about to look at the receipts now.
Okay.
You've texted me. I've have so much text history from you that I always have to press the recent messages button because it just bugs out my phone.
I have an iPhone. I don't know what you're talking about.
Go to fucking hell. Anyways, you can suck my dick.
It was a real statement. I literally don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. So, oh, I didn't read that first one. All I saw when I opened your message was the phantasm, and I didn't know that. I'm so sorry.
It's fine. We can talk about it later.
Getting a massive external stuff. No, we've had this conversation about the play. It's fine.
We have, but under different pretext.
That's fine.
We can talk about it later. It's not
cool. Other than you making me happy because I checked that my PS5 is coming on Thursday. For the stuff that I was doing in the interim, like playing Hyrule Warriors, which I got real heavy into, to the point
I still
where
gotta get back into that.
I'm farming like perfect weapons for my favorite characters, and then I'm still thinking about farming perfect weapons for everybody else.
Let me just tell you, back in the day,
oh no,
me and Brandon played Dynasty Warriors on PS2 for so many hundreds of hours, grinding out weapons and shit. You would think that it was our job.
Oh, reminds me of my old Ragnarok Online days.
Oh, we did that too. But we definitely did that too.
Dude, I think the worst farming experiences that I've had is tied between Ragnarok Online and World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft is just for the disappointment of doing the same run over and over again and never getting what you want. And then you getting a new weapon, and then you running it again the next time and then it dropping, and then you're just like, well, fuck you. Like, you're not even best in slot anymore. So I don't need you.
It used to be that I actually don't know, because in Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, I'm trying to remember like how you get weapons in that game, because I feel like it's different.
Oh, in Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, you get weapons by killing powerful enemies, and there's a chance that it drops. So, like Moblins, Lionels, the big Bokoblins or Lizalfos, when you're taking capturing an outpost.
That's right. Okay. So so it's basically the same, but this is how it used to be. So back in the day, when you're playing Dynasty Warriors, because all of these themed ones didn't exist.
Correct.
There weren't like big Lizalfos and Moblins and shit just roaming around. You had generals, so like your themed characters. So like imagine in this game, actually you don't even have to imagine, like, you know how like there are levels where you fight against Impa and other main characters like that. So characters like that. And there were at very specific points gates that where the enemies flowed into the map from.
Yeah.
And there was a gate captain right there. So the entire map had maybe 4 gate captains and then maybe 3, maybe 4 generals, like total. And it was the same idea. Like you could get a random drop from one of those characters. So you had like maybe 6 to 8 gets at the ghost per level. And they were just as long as they are now, by the way. So you had to go through this whole motherfucker to try and lure them all out to hopefully get a drop, and then hope that it was better than what you already had.
Yeah, I'm so sorry that happened to you. Because now I know, like, in game, I'm not spoiling too much for you, but in game, you have food buffs, and one of those food buffs is increasing like rare drop rate. Then also it's increasing like material drop rate, and those food buffs are stackable. So it's like, say you have one that's 10%, 5%, 15% total bonus buff. And then also, you know that your weapons have like certain buffs or traits on them, right?
Right.
One of those can be improves the quality of weapon drops when weapons drop, and you could stack those to increase that. Or one will be like increase the total amount of when weapons drop, whatever. So like I'm basically building a best in slot weapon, and then I'm building like a farming weapon for each of my main characters.
So back in the day, Dynasty Warriors 4 was like the big one.
Yeah.
That was the one where I say we, because like me and Brandon were on the grind from the beginning. We started with Dynasty Warriors 2 and kept going from there. But most people who got into Dynasty Warriors back in the day got in at 4. That's when it like
really took off
for whatever limited popularity it had, and has since declined rapidly to the point where at this point really nobody gives a fuck except for hardcore people like me and people who like the spin-off games like Hyrule Warriors. But
okay,
back in the day, Dynasty Warriors 4 had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42 characters.
Oh.
And 15 maps.
Wait, that seems really disproportionate, but okay.
Correct. Now, imagine grinding out the best weapons for 42 characters on just 15 maps.
Fuck you. That's what I'm imagining. That's what I'm imagining. Because right now, I'm at endgame and I've basically unlocked everything. Like again, I'm farming stuff. I've already completed the main story. Right. There's 20 main chapters, which is like the main story that you progress through, which I actually really liked. The lore and everything like that was really good. Again, not going to spoil anything for you. I want to hear your thoughts about it later on.
Yeah, I'll get into it.
And after those, in between those 20 main chapters for the main story, those main battles, there 160 challenges, which is like, okay, like certain set rules, stipulations, and restrictions on battles with fighting specific monsters or like escorting someone, that kind of stuff. And then like your first clear through, you are guaranteed a certain amount of items. And then your subsequent clear throughs, you can just either use it to farm specific materials, rubies, or weapons. And this is also, you can play them on different difficulties. And again, I don't know if playing it on a harder difficulty gets you better drops. Like if I find out playing it on a harder difficulty gets you better drops, we going hard. But right now, if I could tell you anything like as a word of advice, go on the site that I sent you a link to and open up the Korok seed locations and have that shit open 24/7. Because what I didn't know, and this is my general assumption, is they only hid Korok seeds in the main story battles. Okay. No. They hide Korok seeds in the main story battles and in some of the challenges. And you don't get the tracker until you're about halfway to 3/4 of the way through the whole story. And you know me, like I did everything, like all the challenges. I made sure I did all the challenges on the map. It was like, okay, I can't do anything else. Next main story battle.
How hidden are these Korok seeds?
Straight up, if you're like just doing the mission or the challenge and not like going legit out of your fucking way to be like, this is a really big map. That area over there has nothing to do with my objective. I should go over there and check if there's a Korok seed. Like, if you don't think like that, you're not going to find them. And even sometimes, like, you're not going to find them unless you're looking for them. And this is within challenges that have time constraints.
So, in the first Hyrule Warrior game, there's Gold Skulltulas. In order to get the Gold Skulltula to appear, you had to do something like defeat 100 enemies on the field, which isn't... It's
easy.
Nothing.
Super
that's irrelevant.
Easy. Yeah.
and then it would pop up on your map for a really limited period of time. Like, we're talking like when you hit 100 enemies, you best start running to wherever the fuck that skull tool is, because it will not stay there long enough for you to dilly-dally. And then you had to find it, hope you had whatever item you needed to unlock it, kill it, and then go on your merry way. Is there anything like that in this game?
No. You just need to, honestly, if you know where they are beforehand, you can set a plan of action, and it's pretty easy. But if you're not actively looking for them, and some of them, like, if you're actively looking for them while trying to do the objective, you're not going to complete it, which means you have to do it all over. So again, my advice to you is have that Korok seed location list up and just knock those bitches out while you're going through the story. Because I had to redo 11 challenges. This is, again, in-game, everything's done. And I'm right now doing a battle where I missed 2 Korok seeds to finally get the last thing. So, again, have that list up and ready. But they do, like, later on you're able to unlock a tracker. So on the battle info screen of when it shows you, like, the battle information, it'll have, like, a little tracker that shows if you collected all the Korok seeds. And then later on, it has a tracker for the treasure chests. And later on after that, it basically is like, okay, fuck the tracker for the treasure chests. On the map, we're going to show you where the treasure chests are with an icon. So the treasure chests aren't the problem. It's the Korok seeds that are the problem, because they don't have none of that for the Korok seeds.
So, I'm going to get on top of that game. I really am.
Oh, I can't.
But let me tell you about what I have been playing, John.
Ooh, okay.
I'm going to send you a gameplay trailer real quick.
All right.
So, I've been playing Subnautica.
The fuck? Is this a big jellyfish?
Kind of. I'm going to watch this gameplay trailer with you, because I've not seen this before. And,
this motherfucker... Oh, he's stranded?
He's very much stranded on an alien planet.
Was he on, like, a cruise liner spaceship? What the...
Yes.
Oh, hell no.
So, basically, you're this crew member from this space shuttle or whatever, and you crash land on this alien planet, and you're stuck in the ocean, and you just kind of have to survive. And let me tell you, man, the beginning of this game is rough, because it doesn't tell you anything. Yeah. You literally, that sequence at the beginning of this trailer is the beginning of the game. And then you're just like in the middle of an ocean with no objective, nothing. It doesn't tell you anything. You just have to figure it out. So, like, you're swimming around, you're like, hey, I can pick up this fish. All right, what do I do with this fish? No. Game's never going to tell you. And so you just have to, like, eventually figure out that you can craft things and make yourself better. And then eventually you realize, oh, okay, this is a starting area, and I have to, like, find an island and build a shelter, and then you can go on and keep doing shit to try and eventually get off this planet.
Okay, holy shit. This shit is on the Oculus? That would be some trippy shit.
Is it?
Yes! It says Oculus, Steam VR, Xbox, and Steam.
It's also on PS4 and 5, which is how I'm playing it.
I figured. It looks gorgeous.
It is a very good looking game. Especially on PS5, it looks and runs great. It is just a very strange beast.
It looked like it. Like, I liked how the different fauna looked. The creatures and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, gave me, like, Alien Predator vibes.
Yeah, so, like, there's this one fish that looks like a boomerang. It's called a boomerang fish, because this guy's real creative with naming things.
Super creative.
And I'm not super far into it yet because, like, honestly, I got to the point where I was like, I literally don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do.
They don't give you
And
objectives or anything like that. It's just literally
no,
just like do what you got to do. Like I know there's survival games out there like that, but they at least give you like objectives or some semblance of an
the
actual mission.
the closest thing you get is eventually if you figure out that you can create a repair tool and then you repair the radio, somebody starts radioing to you and you start trying to like work together to get off the island.
So you have to first figure out to find this obscure piece of equipment, how to fix it, and then you get some sort of objective slash. Okay.
Well, you have to first you have to like figure out for yourself just from poking around that you have a fabricator. And then find the recipe for the repair tool. And then find the items required to build the repair tool. And there is no way to track where the items for the repair tool are or how to get to them, nothing. You just have to find shit. You just have to swim around and explore until you happen upon what you're looking for. And then you build the repair tool and you can go on your merry way.
Nice.
So, yeah, you have no guidance whatsoever. Not a single thing. I spent a good 15, 20 minutes at the beginning of the game just swimming around trying to figure out something. My first thought was like, oh, let me swim towards our crashed spaceship. Maybe there'll be something over there that'll like guide me and give me a semblance of what I should do. And I went over there and it's like, you've entered a radioactive area. And I died because I got bombarded with radiation. So I was like, okay, so don't go to the spaceship, which is the only thing I can think of to do. Cool. I guess we'll figure it out. Spoiler, about 10 minutes later, when I figured out what I should build, the ship exploded. So it's definitely not the objective. But I'm going to keep putting some time into that, see if I can get into it and see where that leads me. Apparently a very easy platinum, so maybe with a guide I can figure it all out. Now, there's two things that I really want to talk to you about.
Yeah.
A couple of things that I watched this week. The first thing I want to talk to you about is this movie from James Wan called Malignant.
Oh, I heard about that. Have you watched it? Is it good?
I have watched it, and it is a movie.
Oh, okay. It's a movie.
Let me see. Is this thing still on HBO Max?
It should be. It's usually like a month that they have it there and then they take it off.
I can't remember what's rotating out right now, so I'm going to look to see if it's rotated out or not. It might have rotated out. I think we just passed the date for where it rotated out. Nope, there it is. It is streaming until October 10th. So you have about 2 weeks to watch this. Now, I really want you to watch this.
Okay.
Because, and I'm not going to tell you what happens for that specific reason, but what I will tell you is the first half of this movie is not a John movie. Straight up.
That's fine. That's fine. Like, again, my problem with slow burn starters is like, as long as I get a good payoff, I'll be fine in the end.
You certainly get a payoff.
You're not selling this movie very well to your audience.
Well, right now my audience is you, specifically.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
I know that even though I'm saying these things, you'll still do it. And the reason I'm telling you this is just to set your expectations. Because you're going to watch the first half of this movie and you'll be like, why did he tell me to watch this? And the turn will happen and you'll know when it happens. But once that turn happens, it's a very different movie, and it is a fucking ride from that point on. So, watch that movie, and we'll talk about it off air, because I don't want to spoil it for anybody. Because everybody should watch that fucking movie. Woo! Woo! That is the most interesting movie that has been on HBO Max yet.
Could you repeat the movie again? What was it?
Malignant.
Oh, okay. All right. Most interesting. That is that's how you sell your audience, i.e. me. Like, I know how withdrawn you are with your certain critiques. Like you don't just say that something like you should see something just to be like, oh yeah, it's all right, it's okay. Like you would not say that for an okay movie. So I'll definitely give it a chance.
I want to be crystal clear here.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's good.
I never said that. That's not what I said.
I'm not saying it's bad, but it is.
You need to watch this movie. Like you just need to experience it. You just need to experience it.
This is what I will say. Good, bad, or otherwise, some of the things that happen in the second half of the movie are worth the price of admission alone. That is what I will say.
Okay.
The other thing I want to talk about, though, is something that you may have seen. I don't actually know if you follow this TV show or not, but I just found out that season 3 of Cobra Kai has been on Netflix for a little while, and I didn't know this.
Yeah.
So I sat down and binged the entire season in one sitting.
Okay.
Now, have you seen this show at all?
No, I haven't seen it at all. I've heard a lot of good things, but still.
Have you seen any of the Karate Kid movies at all? Like, do you know anything about this? Like,
I've seen the Karate Kid movies. Yeah, that's a given.
Okay, all right. So, quick pitch, elevator pitch, 5 seconds. Tommy Lawrence, the guy who he fights in the first movie, they're both grown-ass adults now. Like, real time has passed, and they're both grown-ass adults with families and shit. He starts Cobra Kai Dojo back up again. So, what's his fucking name? Starts up the Miyagi-Do dojo to kind of like balance it out so that there's like good and evil dojo going on again. And it's kind of like looking at the Karate Kid series through their adult eyes, but also through the eyes of their children while they all go through the karate thing again. Whatever.
Okay. All right.
So the short version is, to catch you up, he's kind of a dick, like you would expect from the first movie.
Yeah.
And dude, it's gonna bug the shit out of me. What is this fucking guy's name? What is his name?
You're talking about
Daniel LaRusso. Daniel LaRusso.
You're talking about the actor or like his character?
His character.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like Ralph Macchio is the actor. I knew that.
That's what I was about to say. I was like, I know the actor's name because I watched How I Met Your Mother.
Right. Yeah, so Daniel LaRusso, played by Ralph Macchio, and Johnny Lawrence. So he's kind of a dick. His students become kind of douchebags. His son hates him, though. So his son goes and trains with Danny Lawrence.
Sounds about right.
Or Danny LaRusso. Now I'm just getting everybody mixed up. Danny LaRusso. So you got Johnny Lawrence over here. He's doing the Cobra Kai thing. He's kind of a dick. His son goes over, trains with LaRusso and LaRusso's daughter. And the whole first season is about those two dojos clashing. Season 2, Johnny Lawrence's original sensei comes back, kind of like takes over the dojo, kicks him out because he doesn't want to be a douchebag anymore. Makes those kids even more fucked up. This all culminates in an all-out fucking gang war at their high school.
Oh my god.
Where some kid gets kicked off the second story and paralyzed. Almost kills him.
What the... Okay.
And then in season 3, it focuses on Johnny Lawrence trying to redeem himself. Daniel LaRusso's kind of given up the karate thing after that whole incident because he doesn't want to like cause all this ruckus and all this kind of shit.
Yep.
But the feud is still going on with their kids, despite the fact that the dojo isn't there. They're still like, well, we're Miyagi-Do kids and we're Cobra Kai kids, and they're still going at each other.
They're still trying to beat each other's ass.
Right. They just like start random fucking gang fights in the middle of the streets and shit. Like they raid a fucking what is it? A paintball field and just start beating each other's asses randomly and shit. Some kid gets his arm broken. Like they're not fucking around. And the reason I bring all this up is because, first of all, I don't know how you go around breaking another kid's arm and just get away with that wholesale.
Yeah, just totally fine. Like, no, it's not how this works.
But this all culminates with them literally pulling a B&E on Daniel LaRusso's house, and they just fucking start another gang war in his house. And they get away with it, John.
What the? Where do these children live? That's what I want to know.
I don't know.
That's what I want to know.
Bro, we were watching this shit. I was like, what? How the fuck? You can't do this. Kid's on parole. You're going to jail forever, you fucking idiot. Like, you can't just do that. You can't break into this man's house. Look at that car in this fucking house. You know how much money he has? You think you're gonna get away with this? There's no fucking way. You can't just break into his house and whooping his daughter's ass. What the hell's wrong with you? And that's where season 3 ends. So I guess we'll find out. But dude, if there are no serious consequences in season 4, I'm like, this is fucking completely ridiculous.
That's terrible. What the fuck?
The show overall is very good. But those kinds of things, I'm like, how do we live in a world where you can just like literally chase random strangers around and whip everybody's ass in a random mechanic's garage with no consequences, steal a car with no consequences?
Nobody's gonna say anything. Like, everybody's
Right.
like, oh, okay, it's fine.
Right. Like, there are just no consequences for it. The only person who suffered any consequences whatsoever is the kid who kicked the other kid down the stairs and broke his back or whatever.
Mhm.
He went to juvie for like half the season. However long that was. I'm not really sure how much time that was.
Oh, it was probably like 2 weeks.
It had to have been longer than that because they also go through like the whole rehab thing and everything. So it was a while, but there's not a good concept of time, so I'm not sure how long it was.
Okay. 3 weeks. Got it.
The only thing I'm sure of is that it was not a year.
Okay.
So in less than a year, he got out of juvie for that, which is interesting. But yeah, no other serious consequences for anybody, which really makes you question what the fuck's going on in this universe.
Yeah.
Speaking of what's going on in the universe, John, let's talk about AVP, Alien versus Predator.
Oh,
John, what did you think about this movie?
fuck. Oh my god. I realized I had watched this movie before because, like, I remember I checked the cast and I was like, yes, I've watched this, and I was like, it's not going to be as bad as I remember. You're right. It was worse. There was like flashes of like brilliance / bordering on saving grace, but it just wasn't there. Like, it's whatever. Like, it's not what you'd expect when you put like two like iconic movie, sci-fi horror movie, creature, monsters, whatever you want to call them, against each other. It's not even close. And like, I even like threw the plot out the window. I was like, I'm not gonna pay attention to the plot because that's just gonna piss me off and it's not gonna make any sense. It's gonna be really stupid. If they say that this movie is canonical to either of the franchises, it leaves so many questions, plot holes, and everything in between. So I was like, don't pay attention to the plot. Even without paying attention to the plot, did not have a great time. It was rough, to say the least. How about you?
Do you remember what I told you last week about this movie?
That it would at least be better than The Predator.
Yeah, why did I say that?
Because at least you'd have Alien versus Predator.
That's correct. And you know what happened in this movie?
What?
Aliens fought predators.
Yeah.
I had a great time.
God damn it.
Now, this is what I'm going to say. This movie is way, way better than Predator 4.
You mean The Predator?
Yes. I'm going to call it Predator 4 because differentiating between Predator and the Predator is too obnoxious. I'm just going to call it Predator 4.
Okay, cool. It's not, but keep
this
going.
movie is way, way, way better than that movie.
Once again, categorically wrong, but fine, keep going.
This is why. There's a couple of important points. Okay. First, this movie is not canon. Cool. Neither of the AVP movies are canon at all.
Thank you. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Yeah, that's fine.
So, but the other thing is, even if it was considered canon, the only problem with this movie is the timeline. The timeline doesn't make any sense.
The timeline for both franchises doesn't make any sense. Both franchises.
2004.
Both franchises.
I don't think that it hurts Predator at all, actually.
Yes, it fucking does.
I'm assuming that you're relating to Predator 2, but no. Okay, go ahead. Tell me, how does it fuck up the Predator timeline? Because I can't think of anything.
Okay, so it fucks up the Predator timeline because evidently the first time that they've ever heard of or whatever, like, came in contact with the Predator was in that jungle in 1987. Right?
Right.
So, from a heat signature, they find out that buried in Antarctica, East Jesus nowhere, there is a Mesopotamian, Egyptian, Cambodian conglomerate structure that evidently the Predators built. So the storyline is that the Predators actually came to Earth earlier and made a civilization, taught humans how to make the pyramids, because that's the whole question. Because aliens. And they were already worshipped as gods, deities, and they would come every 100 years to come and use humans as cattle to create aliens for them to hunt as a rite of passage.
Correct.
Now,
you've perfectly summarized the plot.
Yeah. The problem with that is there would have been something somewhere that would have said, we've seen or heard about these guys before. And 100 years, they said the last time that they were there was 1904. Right? But screw all that. If they came here and were worshipped as gods and taught us how to make pyramids and these huge structures and everything like that, there would have been some archaeological findings that would have pointed to the holy shit. There's these aliens that have been around here before. Like, there would have been something. And like, after the incident, like, again, it's not canon, but if it was canon, after the incident in 1987, there would have been everybody everywhere trying to find links to where the fuck these fuckers came from. On top of, they routinely come to our planet to hunt the alien species. So why would they come to the planet now in 1987 just to hunt humans and to play around? Like, honestly, canonically, this movie means the only reason that Earth was even civilized was for us to be cattle for the aliens, not to hunt it, because we weren't seen as worthy to hunt.
No.
Okay.
Almost everything you just said is wrong.
Okay.
How? So, and I mean that with as much respect as I could possibly give. But the problem with all of that is you're working under the assumption that they would leave behind evidence or whatever, but that's not necessarily true. Because remember, in this movie, they not only state, but they show that if the juvenile predator lose against the alien, they drop their nuke and wipe out that entire area. So, and there's one part that doesn't make any fucking sense. And that's the fact that this is like 2,000 feet below the ice in the middle of Antarctica. And I'm like, if either this was like their last temple that they built long after the other ones where we saw the civilization and everything, and so they put it under the ice so that they wouldn't have to worry about it overrunning the planet or whatever.
That's the thing.
And like, possible, although they don't tell us that.
No. That's the thing, is like you'd have to be at a point in time in Earth's history where the Antarctic wasn't frozen and covered in ice. What time frame was that?
Not necessarily, because they could have just dug down and put it down there.
Dug down and put it down there.
Like they dug down to the temple in 30 seconds in the movie. So like it's not crazy to think that they just dug down there and put it down.
Yeah, they dug down there, but then like how did they get their human sacrifice down there? Because the human sacrifices, the people that lived in that area worshipped them. So there had to be a civilization that lived there that was able to have easy access to the temple or whatever. What I'm saying is it wasn't in the ice, especially in the garb that they were wearing.
So, well, I mean, again, not necessarily, because in the movie, there's an abandoned whaling facility up there. Presumably, the last time that they were here. So, okay, so let me lay out this for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
They originally had temples in like South America, wherever, Egypt, whatever the fuck, and eventually the juvenile Yautja lost to the aliens, so they wiped out those entire civilizations and erased it off the map. Okay. Eventually they go, you know what? Fuck it. Like, these humans are getting to the point where they're actually becoming viable prey for us more mature Yautja to come back and hunt. So let's not do anything that could jeopardize their future. We'll keep doing this, but we're going to go up to Antarctica, put it under the ice, where even if we fuck up royally, the aliens really aren't going to get out and be a problem, because we'll have the senior predator up in the ship and they can wipe them out and all this. So they come down, they dig a giant hole into the ice 2,000 feet down so humans can't reach it, build the temple back up, and the abandoned whaling facility that we see in the movie is built on top of that. They dig a hole into it and lure them down into it. Those guys become the sacrifice. In the last time that they were here, this time they use the heat signatures to lure our more advanced humans down there, as we see in the movie.
Uh-huh.
And so it goes on and on.
Yeah.
Now, I'm reaching for this somewhat, because none of this is explained to us in the movie. However, I don't think that any of that is like far-fetched. It's not crazy talk. I'm not totally pulling shit out of my ass. Like, based on what we're presented in the movie, based on what we see in the movie, like, that's how I read that. It just kind of like, if I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, that's what makes sense to me.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is it's very far-fetched in that they are going to have a whole temple with like carvings and writings that somehow that dude can magically like recite the whole story that's out there, whatever.
Not magically, but yeah, go on.
Yeah, I know. That's I was making a statement. Anyways, that they would be able to do that, and then none of this information would be disseminated throughout the ages anywhere whatsoever.
To who though?
It doesn't matter to who. Like even hundreds of years ago, like 1904, honestly isn't that far in the past, and we would have.
No, but like if you wipe out everybody who lives there, like who's going to tell that story?
But still, there would be some sort of event or notification or someone saying historically, it was like, there was a civilization there and it just got wiped out. There would be remnants of, like, this nuke just doesn't like disintegrate everything and leaves everything fucking clean.
No, it's but like the whaling facility's still there, so we can presume that that didn't happen.
True.
The last time that they were here, they succeeded. But like, this is like, it's like the people who saw the spaceship crash in at Area 51, right? Uh-huh. Like, we treat those people like crazy people. Somebody just shows up and like, there are fucking aliens in Antarctica, man. You'd be like, okay, sure.
Yeah, but if like, again, I feel that there would be some sort of historical proof in like artifacts or whatever that would say like they've been here. Like, no offense, like the predators are messy as fuck. Like, they're not covert whatsoever. For a highly advanced, like, again, one of my favorite movie monsters, especially in sci-fi. But for someone who has advanced technology where they can literally fucking turn invisible, they are not covert at all.
So
they would have left something or someone, something or other.
It's worth noting that you're saying that they're messy.
Mm-hmm.
But remember, they're messy in the movies that we see, which happened from 1987 onward.
Correct.
So these are much more advanced than the humans that we're talking about, even in 1904. So the idea that the Predators would have a harder time now than they would back then isn't that far-fetched, dude. Because we clearly see in this movie, like, they still had the shoulder cannons back in 1904.
Yeah.
They would be fucking ripping and tearing through anything they wanted on planet Earth in 1904. So they could be cleaner than they were in any movie that we saw since then. And
murdering hordes of beasts that leave like corrosive acid everywhere?
2,000 feet below the ice in the middle of Antarctica?
True. Okay.
I mean, like, and again, they fail, they fucking wipe out the entire civilization. We don't know that their technology or whatever is going to survive that explosion. Presumably it doesn't. So
true, but like even with like what you're saying is their explosion technology is so advanced that it wipes a whole civilization out, not leaving a trace, not of the civilization but of the explosion.
What I'm saying is that's what they tell us in the movie.
Yeah.
Because like if we just take what the movie is telling us at face value, which I mean like
we kind of
it's a movie about fucking aliens. Like, I don't know what else I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
That's literally what they say happens. And so the fact that we don't know that that happened implies that whatever technology they have in that explosion wipes out all traces of everything, but also doesn't leave any clear indication that that explosion happened.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's possible. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
But it's also worth noting that Earth is big. We find shit all the time. It's possible that there is evidence and we just haven't looked in those specific places.
Sure.
Whatever.
Okay. All right.
The fact that we don't have evidence of these aliens' existence doesn't necessarily mean that the evidence isn't there, just we didn't find it.
That's fine. All right, cool, whatever. The absence of evidence isn't the evidence of absence. Got it.
Correct.
God, I love Boondocks. Anyway.
So the point that I'm trying to make is while I hear you, I don't know that that's proof of anything. That's all I'm saying.
Again, like, fuck. You need to put a clip. I'm going to send you after this from Boondocks and just have that as the fucking, as the clip art, the screenshot, the capture for this episode. That's what I'm going to say about that. And when you listen to it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
Because honestly,
you literally just made that argument, and I love it.
I know, yeah.
Without even knowing it.
I think, personally, that your opinion on the movie as a whole, which is totally valid, is coloring your interpretation of what goes on in the movie. Because, like, I don't think, even if you're totally right about everything that doesn't really make sense, I don't think that any of that really matters. Like,
oh, that's what I mean.
The clear and present plot holes in Predator 4 are way more egregious than any potential plot holes in this movie, especially when you consider that it's not canon.
Okay, cool.
But, like, Predator 4 is so absurdly egregious with its plot holes that don't make any sense within the confines of the movie itself. Forget the greater franchise, but the movie itself is a fucking shit show.
Okay.
This movie at least is like, okay, so look at here, bro. The Predators come to Earth and they breed aliens as a rite of passage. Why Earth? Don't know. Doesn't really matter. Then in 2004, this happened. And look, Predators fighting aliens.
It's not even that good. That's what I mean.
And so, let me just circle back for a second. Let's back all the way up.
Uh-huh.
The reason that I enjoyed this movie is because my hopes and expectations for this movie were that I would see at least one Predator fight at least one alien. I got that and more.
Uh-huh.
And that the movie would be fucking horrific. And it's really kind of not. The acting is bad. Like, I'll give you that. The acting's really bad.
First of all,
but when your bar is that everything in the movie is going to be bad, and all I'm hoping for is getting an alien predator fight, which I get, this movie exceeded my expectations, so I still had a good time.
You're a piece of shit. You set your expectations so horrifically low.
Bro, what does this movie have Rotten Tomatoes? Why wouldn't I set them that low?
I understand, but even
I think for anybody who goes in with anything more than that is just setting themselves up for failure.
So, first off, I actually saw this shit when it opened in theaters with my father.
I did too.
20%.
This motherfucker has 20%. That's so fucking horribly bad.
Yep.
And I would say, so I'm just looking at the most popular section on the left-hand side of Rotten Tomatoes while I'm here. And one of the things on there is Reminiscence, which was also on HBO Max, and I watched that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really like that movie either.
That's fine.
But I like this movie more. And this movie is at 37 as opposed to 20 for AVP. Like, for me personally, those are wildly fucked up. Because, like, Reminiscence is so bad, I didn't even finish it.
What? Really?
Yeah. AVP was at least good. AVP was to the point where not only did I finish it, but I finished it and was like, man, I kind of just want to watch the next one right now.
You're such a piece of shit right now.
And I'm going to be honest. Like, this isn't highbrow cinema or anything. This is not Alien. This is not Predator 1987. This is fucking two movie monsters fighting it out with
that's great.
A fairly weak explanation for why they do it, although a cool one.
Fairly weak. It is. I will say that, like, the
cool premise.
The concept is cool. Yeah, it's just poorly executed.
I think there wasn't enough care given to try and make it canon, and I kind of get the impression that they didn't give a fuck about it being canon or not.
Oh, you want to? Like, I already knew that when the main protagonist was Sanaa Lathan, and I said this shit out loud. I was like, how far down the list was she when she agreed to be on this movie? Like, how many people did they ask before they asked her? No offense to her, but, like, she doesn't have the greatest filmography catalog other than in the 1990s, maybe late 80s.
Sure.
But after she hit in the 2000s, it was straight to DVD, movie, rom-coms, and shit like that. So, whatever, that's fine. Like, I already knew that going in. Once again, I threw the plot out the window. Like, I tried to totally...
I don't think that the plot is so bad that you should throw it out the window.
Disavow the fucking plot. Because I didn't know that it was non-canonical. Like, I thought it was supposed to be canon within the universe, whatever. That's fine. That's my fault. Whatever. Again, I came with low expectations, and, like, there, again, were cool scenes, but it didn't make up for what I felt that it was lacking. Like,
so let me ask you, like, if you threw the plot totally out the window, what was so egregious that even the frankly pretty fucking good fights in this movie didn't make up for that in any way, shape, or form? And then follow-up question, because of that facial expression, what was wrong with the fights?
Okay, so I'm gonna start with the last question. The fights with the Predator and the Alien, they weren't choreographed good. There was a lot of shot recycling, like, especially, like, for the blood, like, hitting the walls, they used the same fucking shot over and over again.
Okay.
Also,
whatever, but okay.
Also, the CGI blood when they killed Wayland, I was like, why not just give him a blood capsule? Did you just not want to use a blood capsule, so you had to use CGI blood? Like, it was really noticeable. There were a lot of death scenes that could have been done better. I will say, the last remaining Predator fucking fantastic. Loved him. I actually remember when I watched it in theaters, like when that nigga came on the scene and he did that slice on the alien's head behind him, cleaned off his shit, there was claps.
First
Straight
of all,
claps.
I just want to interject for a quick second here to say that one was clearly the only one of the three Yautja in this movie that was prepared for this trial.
Oh,
yeah. The other two were clearly not ready.
Oh, yeah, like that's what I mean. And like, I don't know if it was the equipment that he chose compared to the others, but again, inconsistencies because one of them used blades to kill the alien and it melted. He uses his blades, like every tool that dude used did not melt from the alien acid, but the other predators it did. Like their armor like was the same, but their weapons were not. Yeah.
I'm trying to think because like I know what you're talking about. You're talking about when the one alien whose tail gets sliced off and he like flings his blood at him, he catches it on his arm blades and it melts it.
No, he does not catch it on his arm blade. He cuts the alien and
you're right. He melts. Catches it on the armor and he has to take it off. Yeah.
And he looks away for half a second and the alien's fucking gone. Once again,
I'm trying to remember though, does that final alien or predator even use his arm blade like that?
No, he uses the discus and he uses the spear.
Right, so he uses different weapons. The other two Yautja have those weapons, and the second one uses first. Okay, so let's just, since we're deep diving into this for a second.
Okay.
The first Yautja gets blindsided and gets taken out immediately. He doesn't get a chance to do much of fucking anything. So
correct.
Whether or not he was
ill-equipped,
armed, like he's basically out of this conversation. He was clearly ill-equipped, like as a hunter to deal with this, but in terms of actual,
always got to watch your six, boy.
Yeah, he was clearly not ready, especially when you consider that I believe the second and the third predator dispatch an alien who tried to kill them the exact same way. But the second one, which I think looks the best of the three. I don't know if you agree with that. I think he would look fucking dope.
The mask, especially when that scratch mark was added.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Okay. So we're on the same page. Like that shit was fucking cool.
You want to know what's really fucked up is like I actually like the first one who got taken out like a punk bitch. Because
you like him the most?
I liked his mask the most because he reminds me. This is going to be really funny and kind of a tangent. There's an old capoeira movie from the 1980s where this dude is like in a wasteland trying to get back his girlfriend from this like cyborg general dude. But again, he fights with capoeira. And he's just this dude in dreads with those big, thick sunglasses. And that's exactly what the Predator's mask looks like.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what... He gave me vibes of that, and I was like, I'd rock the shit out of that. Like, I really like that. He looks like he hunts and also goes out at night and hunts, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
But that's why I was kind of sad for me to see him go out like a punk bitch. The second one, he went out like a G. Like,
yeah, he put up a hell of a fight for sure.
He definitely put up a hell of a fight. But that's what I mean. Like, it just seemed like for teenage Yautja to come on this trip so ill-equipped. Like, the first one, he was just ill-prepared mentally. Yeah. Not aware of his surroundings. That's fine. That happens, especially like when they're in a situation where the humans that are supposed to be sacrificed is fucked up and like started the ritual sooner than they expected before they got their weapons, whatever. But the second one just seemed like he had all the wrong fucking equipment to deal with. Like, he had the constricting net, which is personally one of my favorite tools. Probably one of the most horrific ways to die, but still the coolest way to catch someone and basically ensure that they're going to die. That shit got melted by the corrosive acid. His blades got melted by the corrosive acid. His armor got melted by the corrosive acid, but that's shared between the second and the third Predator because he marks his helmet. That's fine. But again, like, it just seemed like he was ill-equipped for everything that is. He like had to go hand in hand with this alien that already had the advantage because he cut off his tail and he's spraying acid everywhere. And it just seems like they at the very least would at least come with weapons that wouldn't like totally erode from the acid. You know what I mean? That just seems like a supremely unfair advantage for such an advanced race of hunters. That just seems out of the ordinary, out of nowhere. That's like sending out someone on a hunting quest to hunt down like thick ass buffalo, and all you give them is like a bone knife. You know what I mean?
I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I don't know that we have enough context in this movie to say that. First of all, I don't think that he had inferior equipment. Like, just outright, I don't think that that was the case.
It seemed like it. That's what it means. Right.
No, I understand. Like, I don't know that we have enough information in this movie to say that that's the case, but I understand why you think that. I just don't know. I didn't really get that impression, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I feel like it was a plot-driven device to make it to where it wasn't so stacked against the aliens per se. Because if you think about it, if all of them had tools that didn't like just totally melt off of by the corrosive acid alien blood, it would have been a little bit fairer of a fight for the Predators. Like, straight up, looking at this movie again, Predators got fucking rocked.
Dude, that's why I was laughing when you said that, because like one alien roasted two of them, and there was only three.
And then, like, what's really crazy is like they made that alien to be like the general sub henchman, like the smart motherfuckers. Like, yeah, like they make sure that they zoom in on the aliens, like you see the cross hatch marks from when he was almost killed by the net.
But he never does anything ever again.
Yeah, he's just a little bitch, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I killed two. You, no, he got the cannon. Nah, we backing up." Oh,
which is why I was one of those things in the movie where I was like, "Why did we spend the time to make it so that this alien got out of the net and everything?" And like he goes back, you make a specific point of getting a shot of him when he's next to the Queen, and then he just never does anything ever again.
And then the best part is when he bitches up, like after Homeboy gets the shoulder cannon, and he's like, "Oh shit! Oh, my Queen's calling. I gotta go." Like, you know,
yeah.
Like, I'll handle you later. Like, if she wasn't calling me, I'd handle that.
I mean, in fairness, like from what we know of the xenomorphs, like that's in line with their species. Like the Queen calls, you just go.
That's
so
fine.
Like that's whatever.
It didn't seem like that. It seemed like they made him out to be like, you know, the rebels. Like, oh, the Queen's calling you, I'm still gonna beat his ass. Like, I feel like if the aliens had dialogue, like they should have put in subtitles like, "Why'd you call me, Queen? I was about to wreck that motherfucker." Like, you know, some shit that Starscream would say to Megatron, like trying to make himself look better.
See, like this is what I'm talking about, where I feel like your opinion of the movie is coloring your thoughts, because
it's not.
This is one of those things where like we have multiple films showing us that this is how they operate.
I know that's how they operate, but the way that they're portraying, admit it, the way that they're portraying that specific alien made it seem like he should have done more after taking out the two. But granted, that feat was great in and of itself. Yes,
I don't. So here, what I would say is this: like, I know what you mean, but I don't think that they did anything, and I certainly don't think that they intended to do anything to make him seem particularly different from any other alien. He kills two of the Yautja. He gets out of it. He's got the crosshatch. They set him up like he's going to be special, but he doesn't actually end up being special at all. He's just another fucking alien.
Oh yeah, and he dies like a bitch while he's trying to grab for the little escape tram.
Right. So like I understand kind of where you're coming from, but I don't think that they did anything that would make me feel like that's the case. Like despite his feat, he's still just another xenomorph.
True. And that's fine.
Here's one problem that, and I'm gonna let you finish that thought, but pin it for just a quick second. Because I want to get this in before I forget. This is what the official word is on the entire blooding ritual. I'm just going to throw this out there because I think you'll be as amused by this as I am.
Okay.
This is what it says. Once they have been sufficiently trained, unblooded or young blood hunters will embark on a blooding hunt. I'm like,
that
you need to define sufficiently trained, my boy, because there was definitely there was 3 levels of trained hunters in this one. There was perfectly capable and trained. Maybe this guy will make it through this. Maybe he won't. And there's no fucking way. Send Urkel back to the planet because he ain't making it.
Bro, the number 2 one, he got on that mission on like pure grit and guts alone. It's like,
yeah,
this dude got moxie. He can go. He doesn't understand anything we're saying. No, he got moxie. He'll handle himself.
He was in line to be a fucking berserker. Like, he's just going to go head in, fuck some shit up. And, you know, honestly, if they stuck together the whole time and his boy hadn't been shanked from behind right at the beginning, he probably would have made it out of there alive. But, because, like, he's not doing it by himself, clearly. Yeah. But with his boys at his side, I think he would have been fine.
You mean with the leader? Like, what are we going to call a leader Predator? Like, what's his name?
I don't know. Like, I was trying to find, like, the names of them in this movie, and I can't.
So the first one, we're definitely calling him DJ, because he got the DJ shades on his mask. The second one, we're just going to call Berserker, because that's what his mask screams. I don't want to know what, like... No, we're going to call the third one Iceman. That's what we're going to call the third one. Third one's Iceman. Yep. He got ice in his veins. He's cool as a cucumber. Yep, we're calling him Iceman. I don't know what you're searching for. Like, I already named him. We're good.
Do you want to know what they're actually called? Because I finally found it. They have names.
No. I don't want to know what they're actually called. The names I gave them are perfect. Let's keep going.
You kind of do. You kind of do. So,
oh fucking shit!
The main,
god damn it,
main Yautja that we follow through this entire movie, is Scar, our boy who gets taken out right at the beginning is Chopper, and our big berserker motherfucker is Celtic or Celtic.
Nope. We're sticking with the names I chose. It's DJ, Berserker, and Iceman. All right. That's
definitely
what we're saying.
Not. Definitely not.
No.
Their names are garbage.
Fuck that. My names are better than those names, and you know it. Admit it.
No. There's no fucking way
that I will
ever refer to a Yautja individual as Iceman.
That's the fucking cool. Tell me, that's the whole demeanor he had throughout the whole movie. You know, even after getting impaled in his shoulder, he's like, oh, that's an alien tail. So we're still going to kill this bitch or what? Like,
oh.
Why are you saying oh?
Well, reading through this, it makes a little bit more sense why they're all together like that. They're brothers, apparently. All 3 of them are brothers.
Oh, that makes sense. So the youngest got taken out because he's so naive. The middle child has some sort of experience and has a will to fight. So, of course, he went down like a boss. And then, of course, the eldest is the one who's totally prepared and ready to go.
That would make sense, but not quite.
Fucking shit, Dean. You're ruining everything.
So, instead of that, Chopper, who gets taken out at the beginning, he's the middle child. And Scar, who makes it all the way through, is the youngest.
Fucking shit. God. Damn.
He's just a prodigy, man. I don't know what you want me to tell you.
No, fuck
He's a total prodigy.
Fuck you. Like, I would have accepted if Berserker was the eldest because he was the biggest of the 3. But no. I don't...
So, I mean, like, it is specific. Like, Scar is the smartest of the 3. I think that's clear.
Duh.
Chopper was clearly the dumbest. What does it say? Distracted by the humans, he failed to slay any xenomorphs during the ritual hunt and was quickly ambushed and killed by... They named the xenomorph?
See? Told you.
Well, Our boy who got caught in the net is now named Grid. What a name.
Bro, I am this fucking close to flipping this table, breaking all of my shit, and just going in the house. This fucking Grid?
Well, yeah, because the net wounds.
Fuck you. I would have named that alien Scar. That would have made more sense.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Fuck.
Well, yeah, that's a thing.
Fucking hate everything. You ruined. Like, we could have had it where they had cool nicknames that fit their personalities, and we wouldn't know all this fucking information that just makes me seethe with anger.
Wait. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
So did I get that right? So Celtic was the oldest. He's the one who got killed second.
Correct.
And then the middle brother is the one who got killed first. And then the youngest brother made it all the way through. That's what I said before?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Just making sure.
Making sure that you are shitting all over my imagination and dreams and making this movie work. Yep. Yeah. Got that right.
That's what I do, man.
Fucking shit. It's so bad. And then, all right, stop me if I'm overthinking this.
Okay.
So,
stop.
Fuck you.
Go on.
So what's the fucker's name that you called him? So Iceman. He
Wait, which one?
Iceman.
Which the fuck one is that?
The one who survives technically until the end.
Oh, Scar?
I'm calling him Iceman. So Iceman,
Scar.
After he
like, I'm not gonna allow this bullshit. That's a terrible name.
Fuck
like,
you,
I would allow the first two names.
You know
that
what?
name is fucking ridiculously
Fuck this.
bad.
You know what? We're gonna create a poll.
This is not Top Gun.
We're gonna create a poll, and I'm telling you right now, with anybody who watches this movie is like, Iceman is a way better name than fucking Scar. Again,
not for a Yautja, dude. That's the problem.
I don't give a shit. I'm giving the Yautja name.
Stupid name for a Yautja.
I don't care if the Yautjas call themselves Iceman. Calling someone fucking Scar who doesn't have a fucking scar is just stupid. It would have been better to call the other Yautja Scar. They should only get their names after they complete the rite of passage. I just thought of that. Would have been brilliant. Would have been way better. That's fine. Leaving it in the wind. Anyways, so after Scar, and this movie, what's Sanaa Lathan's character? What is she? Woods? She's Woods. Something Woods. Anyways, after Woods and Scar turn this movie into a buddy cop flick.
That I didn't like.
He's like, okay, we're surrounded by these incredibly deadly alien prey. So I'm going to take the time that I have to, protect myself to teach you about their physiology. Bye, mamas. Love you. First of all, he cuts open the alien and is basically like, okay, here's the blood. It doesn't burn through their skin. It burns through the floor. Oh, I can use it as a shield and actually hit the aliens with it. That's cool. Then they use the tail to make a makeshift spear. That's fine. What's really grinding my gears about that whole situation is if you gut something, there's still going to be blood remnants with inside it unless you thoroughly clean it. Right? I feel that you shouldn't be able to put your hand in an alien skull without some sort of blood remnants burning the shit out of you. Am I wrong in that assumption? Because it didn't look like he had his cleaning gear facility didn't have any running water, even though water doesn't work on acidic chemicals.
Well, it's blood, but sure.
To wash, again, it's blood that's an acidic compound.
Which means nothing like we've ever seen before, so who knows? But
yeah. That's totally fine. Oh, yeah, so it's fine. Oh, I got acidic on me. I'm just going to run it underwater, and it's going to be fine?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like
I'm just saying
you're equating it to human, like earthly things, and that's
logical assumption and leaps. So again,
debatable, but okay.
We've read an excerpt from what's that Wikipedia that you love so much during this whole film series?
Xenopedia
that says the corrosive acid, like, I guess, stops after they die, but again, this is a canon movie.
Yeah, air deactivates it or whatever after.
Air deactivates it. Okay, it's still inside of its skull, and after it like ripped off its fingernail, it's squeezing blood out of it that's still like corrosive. Again, it's not that far of a leap for me to think inside of its fucking skull, if they don't thoroughly clean it, it's basically going to melt off the heifer's hand.
So, this was my read on this scene, because I had the same thought. I'm not gonna sit here in front. Like, I was watching this scene, I was like,
that doesn't add up.
What the fuck? This doesn't make any goddamn sense. But continuing to watch the scene, this is what I think they were going for. Now, it could very well be that they just really fucked up on this one.
Probably.
And I didn't really like this entire sequence of them teaming up and him making them weapons and all this shit to begin with.
It literally became a buddy cop film.
Yes, 100%.
Like, straight up.
I'm not at all sold that they would team up like this and all this kind of shit.
Hold up. Before you even like go any further, I'm gonna let you get back to it. Tell me you didn't think the same thing I did, like when Homeboy took off his mask, like he was like, we should make out right now. I feel like
definitely not. What the fuck?
He just took like, he had, no lie, Homeboy had real pretty eyes. Like, not even gonna front about that shit. But go ahead, as you were saying.
Ooh, you did your eyeshadow today. I see you.
I was literally like about to be like, he was gonna like tilt his head and do the little blinks, like, you like that?
I mean, to that end, like the costume and makeup and effects work in this movie is second to none. It's very, very impressive.
It's great.
All the Xenomorphs and all the Yautja look fucking awesome in this movie. Now,
yeah.
My read on this scene is two things. One, I don't think that he like carved out the skull and she was like putting her arm up in it. I think he just like ripped off the alien skull and like strapped it to her arm. So her arm would like be, if you're imagining like the alien skull, like her arm is up against where the neck would be, right? And to that end, I think that theoretically the way that works is that the air like deactivates the alien blood or whatever where that is, or possibly he has some shit in his little tool bag that he used to carve up this alien that like cauterizes it to the point where it's okay or something. Like that's how that makes sense to me. But I don't. It's not that much of a leap, dude.
It's not
like it's a leap. I'm not lying to you. It's a leap. But
it kind of
is. I don't like this, but it's not that much of a leap.
It kind of is for the fact that he has a fucking finger throughout the whole fight sequence and the movie that is still corrosive by the time that they get to the surface that he uses to mark her.
That's not relevant, though, because like he's hanging on to that finger. He has no intention of giving it to her, so why would he bother to cauterize it or whatever? Like, that's not relevant.
See, that
just because he didn't cauterize something does not mean that he couldn't.
Okay, all right. Again, you're using the same defense, and I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. But I get it. But that's also making that leap that he has this tool that cauterizes it.
Which, well, I mean, like, but okay, so
again,
in Predator 2, we see that he can do shit like this with like things that don't make any. He's got blue fucking rocks that somehow cauterize and seal his wounds and shit. Like, it's not insane given how advanced that species is, and the fact that they do this on the regular to think that they would have something to deal with that. Like, it's not crazy. We just don't see anything to support it.
It isn't crazy, but the fact that we don't see anything to support it when we've seen it in like nearly all the other Predator movies. Actually, we've only seen it in one Predator movie where they've done that. Where they
technically two.
What did they do it in Predator 1?
No, but like he busts out a med kit in Predator 1 to deal with his wounds. So like,
yeah. They do
we
have
don't
med
see
kits.
him deal with it directly, but he clearly does.
Okay, but that's what I mean. Like, it's not that hard to fucking show it. Like, they showed the whole fucking montage scene of him making this shit, and like,
Sure.
and like her whole reveal of like, oh, I'm a badass warrior now. You want some of this, bitch?
Yeah, no,
When
like
I got
I'm not
fucking lucky.
I don't agree. I don't disagree with that at all. Like you should show some shit to explain that because that's kind of weird. But
That
like
is a huge plot hole. It's like
no, it's
dude,
not a huge plot hole.
I feel like
it's leaving shit out that's frankly not super relevant. To be honest, like
super relevant.
Like so okay. Like for real, like just take a step back for a second. How relevant is it how she dealt with the fact that the alien blood was in the skull or whatever? Like, really, how relevant is it?
Because if there isn't a logical explanation for it, her arm would be taken off by putting that shit on. And it would have been a funny scene if the Predator was like trying to help her out and ends up inadvertently taking off her.
Okay, first of all, you need to get rid of this comedy bit. Like, Predator is not a fucking comedy.
That shit would have been funny as fuck. I would have loved it. And he would have just backed away and is like, you know what? You a warrior. You got this. I'm going to go this way.
But like I said, I'm pretty sure that she's not sticking her arm into the skull.
Okay.
And even if she is, the presumption is that he did something to deal with the blood. Like,
okay. All right.
Like, how relevant is it really how he did that? Does it really impact the movie in any meaningful way?
Yes, she would have one less arm.
Dude. Now you're just being obnoxiously argumentative.
It's fine. I'll let it go. How did all of those eggs get into the sacrificial room? Did the aliens carry that shit in there?
No, there's a conveyor belt or whatever.
I know there's a conveyor belt, and the conveyor belt.
It doesn't show like how exactly that works, but the presumption is that it goes into some machination that puts it right up in there.
Yeah, but from what I saw, the conveyor belt only ships it to 6 slots. Them eggs was all over that bitch. I would make the assumption that the aliens carried them to the room to have them as for where they put their hosts.
Oh, yeah, maybe. I thought you were talking about the original ones. No, yeah, the ones that are spread all over the place, presumably the xenomorphs that hatched then went and moved them to set up traps.
Once again, that was a great scene where oh boy like got lucky and like was totally happy about shooting the flying vagina with fingers in the face. And then noticed that there was like a million more. Yeah. I mean, again, there was good scenes sprinkled throughout the movie, but like
so to that end, you never answered my question. What was wrong with the fight scenes?
The fight scenes were clunky and horribly like they weren't greatly choreographed, but I understand why that was. Like,
yeah, I mean, like whatever. You get to see aliens fight predators.
Like, let me put it to you like this way: when I first saw this movie, fucking loved it. It was amazing. It was awesome. Again, I saw this movie when it first came out with my father. I was clapping in the theater, cheering our boy Scar on. Ugh, hate saying that name. But watching this movie, like years later, years gone by, and especially after watching the other Predator movies, like, no, I just wasn't feeling it. Like, and I like that's not coloring my opinions of the movie. Like, a lot of the stuff, like I noticed, wasn't as good. Like, I feel like they spent all of their production budget for the Predator and Alien fights and left everything else by the wayside. Like,
so I will say that all of the movie up to where the alien and Predator start fighting each other is pretty like boring generic sci-fi shit to the point where I was like, I don't really care. But it's not bad. Like, it's just boring. It's like not interesting.
Yeah.
The acting throughout the whole movie is not particularly good. Like, nobody gives a very good performance in this movie.
Oh, dude. Looking at the cast, like the cast from what I saw is like, I know that dude from this movie, he's an asshole. I know that chick from this movie, she's an asshole. Like, they're all like B and C list actors and actresses that I remember from movies and TV series where they were like henchmen, bad guy assholes. So I was like, oh, I know how this is gonna end.
Yeah, there's not a single actor in this entire movie whose name I recognize. Not a single one.
I'm totally gonna get the Zika virus.
And so like that's fine. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But the acting isn't so egregious as to like tank the film. It's just kind of boring.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, you could throw that by the wayside. Like, again, you're basically watching this movie to watch aliens versus predators fight.
Yep.
And I think what's really coloring my opinion of this movie is like I forgot just how fucking bodied the predators get throughout
They
this
really
fucking
do.
movie. Like, if you go off the assumption of how good of a hunter that all the other predators in all the other movies, regardless of what you think of the movie,
Sure.
the predators in all the other movies were decent to great hunters, right? Especially,
Now, sure.
especially in The Predator. Like, I know you hate that movie, but the predator who fought his way out of that scientific facility unarmed, basically, that shit was badass. And if
Speaking
you put,
of which, what's that motherfucker's name?
right,
Keep going. I'm gonna look it up.
And you put that motherfucker in this situation, he would have bodied all them fucking aliens. He would have had to fight 10 aliens by himself without a shoulder cannon for them to take him out. Do we agree on that at least?
Say that one more time.
That if you put that predator who fought his way out of the scientific facility unarmed in that situation, he would have had to have fought 10 aliens to 1 without an arm cannon for them to take him out.
Give it to me one more again.
I'm saying that motherfucker is such a bamf.
So yes, I agree with you. However, these are juvenile Yautja, and he's an experienced hunter, so it's not even close to 1-to-1.
Once again, I get it, but that's what I mean. Like, so I feel like they put that in there as a plot device for everybody who knows about predators. Like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, oh, they're newbies. I get why they got like fucking bodied, but 3 of them?
I don't know that they actually really explained that in this movie. Actually,
they said that. They said that in the movie. Like,
when he reads the ceiling or whatever. Yeah.
When he reads this.
Yeah.
He just, what fucks me up is like he just looks at the exact part of the ceiling where it starts the whole story. Oh, I could see it all. Flashback sequence. So it's like, nigga, get your ass out of here. Fucking shit. This is your only use in the movie, and then you get murked. I'm fine with that. But
that's a terrible name.
What's the name?
Fugitive Predator. It doesn't have like a real name, just the Fugitive Predator.
Why not call him Renegade? Fuck, I hate them so much. Anyways,
yeah,
that's what I mean. Like, I think what's coloring mine is because I love Predator, because it's just a cool concept, and they're
by the
badass motherfuckers.
Do we both agree that this is a Predator movie and not an Alien movie?
Yes.
Okay.
Even though they got their asses handed to them on a silver platter.
Yeah, but like the whole plot revolves around them, and like the alien are just a plot device within this Predator movie.
Well, to be fucking fair, all aliens in alien movies are a fucking plot device because they're a predatorial creature that don't have any motivation other than propagating their species and killing whatever they can.
That's true, but like the plot revolves around the aliens, like going to their planet, crashing on their planet, getting stuck with them, how they were made, shit like that.
True.
There's none of that in this. It's just there's aliens here because we said there is.
There are aliens here because they're the ultimate prey, and that's their only fucking use.
Yes.
And then we have an oh shit button in case they overrun us.
Correct.
But that's what I mean. Like, the Predators got fucking worked, and I didn't like it. I didn't think, again, like, it just didn't make sense to me that, again, trained fucking, even if they're juveniles, they would be trained as like, hey, this fucking monster is very sneaky. You need to be always aware at all times. Oh yeah, fucking I understand. Okay. Just to let you guys know, we're not going to send you in there not knowing that this motherfucker has acid for blood. I'm going to bring tools that melt when I step. No, that in itself doesn't make sense, Dean. And you know that. Like, the bare fucking minimum. If you know that if you cut it and it bleeds, it will burn your shit. I get the armor, maybe, but you can spare the alloyed metal that doesn't react to corrosive acid for their weapons at the very least, which we do see.
But we never see the alien blood just left on those materials like we do those blades that melted. So, I mean, it's different. And it's also worth noting that, like, because of that, we don't know that such a metal even exists. We don't see anything that the Predator have that get directly hit with that acid blood and survive it. You see the blade that cuts through them, but it cuts through them and it's clean on the other side. So, like, this really presumption that, like, they under-equip them, like, that's not necessarily true. He just fucked up by catching blood on his shit.
It just seems far-fetched because, no offense, he swiped and cut the tail just as fast as Homeboy cut the face hugger and the other alien's fucking face.
Sure. I'm not saying that doesn't make sense. But.
And those pieces of metal on those blades are thinner, so they should dissolve quicker, correct? Am I not saying? So again, the metal has to logically be of a different grade.
No.
It has to be. It has to be.
No.
Come on, man. Come on.
Dude, you're missing the most obvious explanation for this.
Which is?
Bad writing.
God! Dude, swear to God.
They wanted to make a point, and so they did it poorly. Like, I'm not going to argue with that. Like, that's the explanation.
And you're fine with that? You're gonna say you had a great time and you're fine with that.
I don't love it, but I can live with that because it's not that important.
It kind of fucking is.
It's really kind of not.
Because okay, Dean, you're fucking lying to yourself.
Because like so here's the thing. Okay. They have other the spear thing doesn't really make sense. Mm-hmm. Unless hold on.
Dude, you know I'm right. Just fucking say it. Just say it. Say it and we can be done with it. Because you know I'm fucking right. Because straight up, it does matter.
So it's worth noting that we don't ever see the acid blood sitting on the spear. But it doesn't make any sense. It does. Hold on. Let me finish. But it doesn't really matter because it doesn't make sense. Because, like, at the end of the movie, he stabs it into the alien queen and it's totally fine. That doesn't make any fucking sense if it's made out of the same material. So the question then becomes, like, is the spear a different material? I don't know. If it is, why would it be?
Is the spear and the metal discus that he used to kill 2 alien creatures?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Does it matter? Not really, because it's still bad writing no matter how you slice it.
So
but here's the thing. This is what I'm going to say.
All right.
They do it one time in this movie to make a point.
Uh-huh.
And then they never really bring that part up again. Mm-hmm. It's really actually they do it twice because they do the armor thing too. So like you have this big brawl where you have the 2 predators that get killed with acid blood going everywhere, melting shit. They're making a point to reestablish like the powers and abilities of the alien, and then they ignore that because now you know that information. This is a fairly standard writing trope that, for the record, is not good, but it is what it is. I've seen enough movies and video games and all this kind of shit, and this happens all the time. Is it good? No. But this movie isn't like highbrow entertainment. Okay. It just is what it is.
That's like fucking fine.
Like, when you're dealing with a basic action movie like this, like those kind of things are going to happen. You just kind of roll with it, dude. Like it's.
But the thing is like you say that it's not a big deal, but it is in the fact that if that was the same material as the blade that the other predator used, that predator would be down 2 weapons. Before he got his shoulder cannon, he would have only had his arm blade that he could have used. And if he used his arm blade, we knew that would have probably melted too. So he would have basically been weaponless before he got any like his shoulder cannon, and then he would have only had his shoulder cannon to protect himself, and then he lost that shoulder cannon.
But the only weapon that we see melt is his arm blade. So, like, we could then presume, like you were saying earlier, that the
now you want to agree with me. Now you want to agree with me.
Listen. You need to calm down.
No.
What I'm saying is, like, if we go off your presumption that they're different metals, that he would still have the spinning blade and the spear. So it doesn't really matter.
Correct.
Like, it doesn't actually fundamentally change anything. The biggest argument that I was trying to have with you is, like, it doesn't necessarily mean he was under-equipped. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the only thing that we see melt. But, like, I don't know, man. Like, at the end of the day, it's not good writing. It's a plot device to explain something.
Just fucking admit I was right about at least one of those things. Either it was a different metal, or he was ill-equipped. One or the other. You just got to give me one, because you're literally backing yourself in the corner, and it's all because you don't want to admit I'm right about anything. That's totally fine. I understand that's why you want to, where you want to lit that hill you want to die on. But you literally, like, we have it recorded now that you're saying I'm either right about one of two things. So pick one.
I mean, I've already admitted this to you, but okay, sure. Mm-hmm. Like, yes, one of those things must be true. I don't think that it's that he was under-equipped, because why would you under-equip one of them? That doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
So, like, theoretically, they're made out of different metals.
Thank you.
Like, I've said that like 3 times now while I've worked through this.
I just wanted the clear sentence so I can have that on my soundboard.
Like, I've seen this. I saw this movie almost a week ago. Like, yeah, cut me a little slack as I remember like everything that's happened, and I just talked through it with you, and like
I get that, but I'm just saying, like, that. No offense, like, I know you say it's not big, but that's a big deal if, like, it's made of the same metal. Because if it was made of the same metal, he would have literally been fighting them bitches hand to hand, and he would have lost. The ending of that movie wouldn't happen. The queen would have been out, and she would have just been raping and ransacking all of Antarctica. So polar bears and penguins get extinct.
No, she wouldn't. Because there's still the mothership with the elder predators on it that would have wiped her out.
That's another thing that they added in there is like a Deus Ex Machina bullshit. It's like,
what are you talking about? That makes perfect sense.
I guess
why the fuck wouldn't you do that? Of course you would do that.
They watched Homeboy die because, like, this is his fight. He has to go through it, win or lose.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, they give the heifer, because they see, oh, she got a mark. Oh, she's one of us. She's a hunter. They give her a fucking retractable spear.
Okay.
And then she's stranded in Antarctic. Because
that's what they got. Like, so we've seen in a previous movie that they reward hunters that show their worth. Like, there's nothing wrong with that.
Hold up. They gave Danny Glover a fucking flintlock pistol from the 1700s. And they give old girl a goddamn retractable spear from their alien technology.
What, you think they got shitloads of flintlock pistols hanging around? Speaking of which, did I explain the flintlock pistol story to you?
Yes, you did. But what I'm saying is, if I had to choose between a rare item that we got hundreds and hundreds of years ago on a previous hunt and spears that we got laying around the whole fucking ship, I would have given everybody a spear. So I don't know which present was greater. To be honest with you, I would rather get the retractable spear. And then I'd be like telling my grandchildren, boy, did I tell you about that time that I fought an alien queen and beat that bitch's ass? You didn't do that, Grandpa. Get out the retractable. Say that again, boy.
I mean, from the perspective of, like, just being a weapon, yeah, of course the spear is a greater reward.
Not even a weapon, but as a memento of that whole event. Because, no offense, people can be like, oh, you could have got that flintlock pistol from whatever. That's not that big of a deal. You're like, you saying you got it from an alien isn't going to say much. But if you have a retractable fucking spear made of metal that isn't on the periodic table on Earth, that's another thing.
Yeah, but like,
that is undeniable proof. You just can't. make that shit blacksmith like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna make my own new element that's not on the earth and craft this retractable spear that's badass.
Yeah, but like how much do you really want to prove that you met aliens? Like are you sure that's really what you want?
Oh, I'm just gonna prove that I met aliens to my snotty nosed grandchildren who talking shit. Where'd you get that
Also,
scar
like,
on your cheek, granddad?
how much proof is a retractable spear? I mean, like, I get it, but like, is that really proof of it? We can make a retractable spear, my guy. Like,
we can make a retractable spear that can cut through anything on this earth like butter.
you don't know that it can do that? What are you talking about?
It definitely fucking can.
Based on what?
Based on everything we've seen about Predator weapons in this movie and prior.
Keep going. I'm waiting for the proof because I can't think of any.
Dude, it jettisoned through Homeboy in the constricting net and stone like it was butter. I don't know if the... Okay, granted, you might say that might be due to the Predator strength. Regardless of the Predator strength, the structural integrity of that spear, if it's not stronger than the stone and the body's whatever, that's fine, but it's not stronger than like the stone and everything like that, it would break regardless of how strong the Predator is. So we at least know that it's a sturdy fucking spear. Yeah, and we can make the logical assumption that it's made of their alien metal, which cannot be found on this earth, which means that it can cut through basically anything like butter.
No. That's a hell of a reach.
That is not a reach.
That is the most extraordinary reach yet. Because, like, there's absolutely nothing that suggests that. In fact, in Predator 2, we see him launch one of his, like, arm shot things into a vent. It gets stuck in the vent. It doesn't go through it at all. No, it doesn't go through it any better than any human metal would.
All right. Okay. Whatever you say.
I'm just saying, like, to say that it could cut through anything like butter, if we presume it's made out of the same metal as that one, which maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but, like, that's at least a 1-to-1-ish comparison, and it definitely did not cut through that like butter. So, like, that being the kind of yardstick that we have, like, your suggestion is totally ludicrous.
Okay, cool.
Gotcha. Maybe you're right, but there's absolutely nothing to support that. Not a single thing.
Gotcha. Cool.
Like, that said, I think that she was on the come up getting the spear instead of the flintlock pistol.
Yep.
But it's not like they all have flintlock pistols laying around. Like, maybe they just didn't have a reward like that laying around in their ship this time.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. You got to reward them because they work on an honor system, so you give her the spear. All right. That's all I'm saying.
Gotcha. All right, cool. I mean, again, yeah, she definitely came up when it came to getting gifts from the Yautja.
So I do want to bring up something.
Yep.
The moment, we kind of touched on this earlier, but the moment where, like, she teams up with Scar towards the third act of this movie, that moment onward is completely absurd. I kind of
yeah.
I don't hate it, but I definitely don't like it. Like, right away, I'm like, they're teaming up? What the fuck is this?
Yeah, it literally became a buddy cop movie, dude.
And then they, like, run down the corridor arm in arm and shit. And I do love the moment, though, where he's, like, arming his wrist bomb or whatever. And he's just like, oh, it's a bomb.
Just toss it. There you go. It's
gonna and then they run away from it. They fucking run away from it.
God,
we know that, like, this has to not be canon. When they said in Predator 2 is like 3-mile radius, that thing blows up and they run away from it again. God damn it. We forgot about that shit from Predator 1 and they just brought it back.
Yep. Oh, here's, like, that's what I mean. Like, maybe they have on their wrist guards where they can set the intensity of the blast. Maybe.
Maybe. Okay. I'll roll with that. Makes this movie a little bit better again. I like that.
Fuck you.
I don't know why you're so aggressive.
I already told you it's because the Predators got bodied, and I will admit that's coloring my opinion of this movie a little. But I will say everything pertaining to the human actors and characters in this movie was terrible. They spent all of their budget on the Predator and Alien graphics, honestly, which they should have spent most of their budget. But to have like fucking terrible CG blood, like the blood color would look more like red wine than it should have. It was bad. I didn't like it. Not one bit.
Okay, I mean, and that's fair. Here's my question. How do you feel about, like, assuming that this movie's canon? How do you feel about the threat level of the Predator versus the Alien after this movie?
What do you mean by that?
Like, compared to your impression of how good of a hunter the Yautja are and how dangerous the Xenomorph are, like, what's the plus minus on that after this movie?
After this movie, the Xenomorph drastically outfavors the Yautja by 1,000,000 to 1.
Keeping in mind that these are inexperienced first hunting.
I mean, they're inexperienced first hunting predators, that's fine. But, like, that was just like a handful of fucking aliens. Like, we're probably going to say at most 10 and a queen. Like, if
probably
you.
Less than that, actually.
Yeah, like, my earlier statement.
We could find out because we know how many humans there were.
There were 6 specifically in the sacrificial chamber when the first egg showed up. They caught the one dude with a scar on his face. I don't know if they killed him and brought him. No, they did bring him back. He had a face hugger on him. So that's 7. The one dude that got the Desert Eagle, but saw that there was more of them. That's 8. They killed Weyland. They killed the head security officer. They killed the other guy with a spear. So I'm going to say 8 to 10 aliens and a queen. Yeah, that was about right.
Something like that. That sounds about right.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, if they're like a horde of aliens, to match that with predators, like, they all had to be experienced, and it would have to be like at least 20, 25. Fully equipped, and not with some shit fucking gear. I'm not even talking about like shit weapons. Like, all of them don't even have to have shoulder cannons. Just metal that doesn't fucking melt when you stab them. That's all I ask for.
Which might not even exist, but sure.
But yes, that's what I mean.
Like,
but
I still maintain that, like, we're trying to make an excuse for a bad plot device.
That's
like,
fine.
At the end of the day, I think the metal is the same in all of it, and they were just trying to make a point through the screenplay, which I don't think is good, but I think that's just I think that's the reality.
See, like, that assumption would basically mean that nigga would have no weapons at the end of the period.
No, because I this is what I'm saying. I think the structural integrity that we see from the likes of that, like, hand boomerang thing that he has with spikes on it and the spear is true to what the metals actually are, and they just made them weaker in that moment to make a point. That's what I'm telling you. Again, I think that that's fucking terrible writing, but I think that that's the case.
Yeah.
Like, if we're looking at it canonically for an answer to this question, I think that's the answer.
But that's what I mean. But if you think about it logically, the Yautja are such an advanced hunting, like, alien species that if they're going to hunt something with corrosive blood, they'd find some shit that doesn't melt. Or they would adorn themselves in what I guess Scar figured out in all of 2 fucking minutes in alien body parts.
No, yeah, I mean, I don't think you're wrong. I think that it's very possible that if they were going to do some shit like this, that they could, like, skin the xenomorphs and, like, make armor out of that. Although I will say that if this is supposed to be like a coming of age ritual or whatever, and the point is to go out there and hunt this super dangerous predator to prove that, like, you're worthy, that they probably would not give them that kind of equipment even if they had it.
That's really fucking
because
stupid.
the point is to prove yourself as a hunter when you're under equipped against your enemy. If that's the point, and that's
If
kind of
that-
the point that they're making,
If that's
then
the
it kind of
point,
makes sense, actually.
yeah, then Homeboy stole some better weapons. Then
No, I mean,
about that.
no,
That's
I mean,
all
I
gotta
stand
say
by
about
the, I stand by my
No.
statement about the weapons. I think the weapons are supposed to be fine, and they were just making a point with bad writing.
They're just making this fucking dude. That-
My point was simply about the armor. And
They
shit.
literally,
The weapons, I think, is just bad writing.
it's they like that bad writing literally turns the whole situation on its face. Because if one of two things about that situation is true or not, it changes the whole aftermath of every choice that.
So this is what I want to do. I want to reframe this conversation a little bit.
Okay.
Because the realization that I've come to from talking to you about this movie is that this movie is a victim of expectation. And what I mean by that is that it's not particularly good. But if you come into it with the expectation of seeing Xenomorphs fight Yautja like I did, it's fine for what it is. If you expect anything more than that, you're going to be upset and at the very least disappointed by it. And I think that's where we differ. Like, I came into this expecting a fucking complete shit show, which it's not, and aliens fighting predators, which there is. And so when I walked out the other side, I was like, okay, so we have what is basically a totally mediocre sci-fi movie with two of my favorite alien creatures going to battle in these fucking bloodbath. That was fun. You went into this movie, I don't know what your expectations are. You can kind of tell me what you really expected to get out of this movie.
My
But like
expectations were
well, hold on. But like it seems like your grievances with this movie are because it's got points of bad writing, the acting's not good, the choreography's not good, and like frankly, like none of those things should be on the table for a movie like this to begin with, in my opinion. They could make something truly special if they did those things right, but I don't think a studio is ever going to do that. And like when you reframe it that way, I think the movie is totally serviceable for what it is. But I mean, like you could tell me what your expectations were if I'm totally off base with that. It just sounds to me like you're upset because a lot of things don't make sense, which is true, and the acting is not particularly great. That's true.
That's
I think the script for the most part is fine. Like the plot is coherent. There aren't any totally egregious plot holes that don't make any fucking sense. There are things that aren't good, like the weapon thing that you're so hung up on. That's just bad writing. But it doesn't ruin the experience for me because I'm willing to just go like, you know what, like this is action movie trope type shit. Whatever. I'm just gonna roll with it because I wanted to see aliens fight predators, and that's what.
I mean, if you're framing it in the sense of just like watching action movies when they use guns, like guns don't have unlimited ammo, so why is he shooting a handgun that has a maximum of 15 rounds like 35 times? Yeah, I get
300 times.
Yeah, or the yeah, that's what
like
I mean.
The end of Commando, where he just has unlimited ammunition and never reloads.
I get that. Like again, like I totally understand that. I can turn my mind blank to that shit. That's fine. But when you take the time to show that these aliens, predators, and I'm talking about the xenomorphs, that they're so dangerous even when you stab them that they melt the weapons that you're using, that's a big statement. And then in the next fucking scene, none of that shit happens. That's kind of something I can't leave by the wayside, because that kind of information that's put in the fucking forefront, it's basically like in one scene of the action movie, you see Homeboy using same handgun, he shoots off the current, like the proportion amount of rounds, 15, 12, and they make a point as like, oh, I counted, you only shot 15 shots, right? Then you give the next guy later down the movie the same handgun, same situation, and he's shooting, popping off like 3,000 shots with nobody mentioning it, nobody saying anything, and like nobody batting eye. He's not reloading. Like you can see that. That's a huge problem. Like in that Commando action movie, nobody fucking reloads. They stick to that. That's fine. I understand that. But when you show something getting destroyed, and then you show multiple instances where none of that happens without an explanation, that's a problem. And that's what I mean. Because if you did show it in that light, like if you stuck to that, basically be like, he threw his blade and cut off the head, and then after that, he sees like a couple of his spines on the blade are like melted off. I can agree with that. That's fine. She uses the spear, stabs the alien. For some reason, it didn't bleed all over and she didn't get melted. That's whatever. Fine, whatever. I'll leave that by the wayside. But sees that the spear, like the section of the spear that was in the alien body, gets melted off, and that spear is useless now, or he just has one side of the spear that's sharp. I can agree with that. Because you can still do the rest of the movie as long as you show that. Because again, you're showing that the weapon's damaged from the same effects that the other Predators had to deal with. And that's why the shoulder cannons are so important, because they shoot lasers, and lasers don't give a fuck about corrosive acid. They just melt shit. And in the ending of the movie, he could have just stabbed the alien queen with the half of the spear that wasn't burnt off. He could have used the discus as like a gauntlet or like claws, because the other side, the blades were messed up. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't that hard to put that in there. Yes, I agree with you, it's bad writing, but that bad writing has a huge impact because he's using those weapons to their full capacity throughout the movie, and he's not at a disadvantage. Like, honestly, that Predator throughout the movie wasn't at a disadvantage until the Queen basically showed up.
Arguably, he still wasn't, because he fucked her ass up.
Yeah, even after taking a fucking tail to the fucking shoulder, and he like literally like looked at it, I was like, oh, that's there, and shrugged it off and was still fighting. Like that. Again, I was clapping in the movie theater when I first saw it, where Homeboy came flying out of nowhere, doing some gymnastic spin and stabbed her right in the foot. Like, again, there are scenes in this movie that are hype as fuck.
For clarity, he doesn't take the tail and the shoulder. He takes it right through the stomach. Just like his brother, who died from the same injury earlier in the movie.
No, the first time he got impaled by the tail, it was through the shoulder. The second time, it was in the stomach.
Did he get impaled by
twice? He got impaled twice.
I don't remember. Okay,
that's how much of a badass Scar was. And like, again, that's what they're showing with that alien. Even though he took off his mask and he was trying to make out with Sanaa Lathan, but that's fine. But that's what I mean. Like, it literally would have cost them nothing to show that their weapons that they came with were ineffective against the aliens or weren't as good as they could have been, and they still could have had the same fucking movie. That's basically my biggest problem with that. Something that you see is very minuscule, but I feel has a big impact, because bad writing, yes, but it took nothing for them to basically say this weapon's damaged because it went through an alien, but he can still use the other side.
So, first of all, I agree with everything you just said. My thing is, up to this point, I've talked about every movie that we've watched the same way, except for a couple. Mm-hmm. And that's through like a legitimately critical lens. I look at the movie for what it is as a movie, the story it's telling, the CG, everything. And I give my honest opinion about that movie as a whole. If I did that for this movie would be like, I don't know, like 2.5 out of 5. 5 out of 10, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Still not 20%. I think that's absurdly low. It's not that bad. But it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
But when I watch a movie like this, I don't expect it to be particularly good, first of all, but also like let me back up for a second.
Mm-hmm.
When I was growing up, me and my dad would watch like Arnold Schwarzenegger movies and shit like this all the time. Just fucking B movie shit where stuff blows up, people get shot, motherfuckers fight. And like that's what you watch the movie for. So when I go into Alien versus Predator, I'm not expecting Predator. I'm not expecting Alien. I'm not even expecting aliens. I'm expecting some B movie shit and some motherfuckers to fight. And as long as I get that, I'm pretty happy for the most part. And that's why I can watch a movie like Mega Shark vs. Crocosaurus and have a good time.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, Jordan watched that movie and, like, he critiqued it like you're critiquing this movie now.
See, I wouldn't agree with that statement because I like Mega Croc versus Sharkosaurus because although that is so
I love that I just said the title 3 seconds ago and you still got it wrong.
Yeah, you know what I meant. Mega Shark versus Crocosaurus. I got it. Anyways, I can watch that movie and be totally okay with it because in between all of that garbage, there is a lot of like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's just subtle shines of brilliance, like them mentioning like the reason this crocodile is doing stuff is because of its nature or whatever. Like they're just pointing to that and they're leveraging that really well. Or they lean into the fact like we know we're a cheap fucking movie and we're gonna lean into that hard. Like Santa Jaws. Fucking love that movie other than the ending. Because literally when like he was like, oh, I'm gonna write that it has no teeth. Fucking gets Jingle Bells and bites them and creates teeth out of them. That's genius. Like, regardless of how bad the movie is, that part right there is genius and needs to be applauded. And what I didn't get from that movie is them, like, leaning into that one way or another. Like, yeah, they weren't taking themselves too seriously, but they weren't taking themselves too seriously enough, and they were trying to walk that middle road tightrope. And for me, it didn't work. I will say this. The shining moments with Scar, like when he leaps out and he stabs the queen, that was an amazing moment. When he basically anytime he takes out an alien other than the shoulder cannon is a badass moment. Like they made him out to be a bamf, and they did a great job. Without him, this movie is dog shit, pure and simple. Like that's what I have to say about it. Like I went into this movie with low expectations, and I remember seeing this movie, but like without Scar being a bamf and those cool scenes, like they had to make his scenes like hype as fuck to make up for the rest of the movie. And they did, but it wasn't enough for me and to be just like, wow, I enjoyed it. Like there was just some shit like I couldn't get over, like the weapons and the fact like I didn't remember that they just made this into a fucking buddy cop movie.
Yeah, like, I didn't like that.
Like
I can't lie to you, I did not like that.
Like if instead of them like working together and it becoming a buddy cop movie, like he set her up, like basically like, okay, you can use this alien exoskeleton to where you're not burned by their acid blood, and here's the spear, and then just left her ass. Totally okay with that. 100% would have been fine. Sure. But the fact is like, okay, I set you up, you ready to go, you warrior, you badass, let's roll together.
Honestly, what I would have preferred, because like I now that I'm thinking about it, like him just leaving her would have been bad, because then we have to split our attention between him and her, and like that's too much. I don't want that. What I would have preferred is like, if we're going to do this, one of two things. Mm-hmm. Either we go down the same path and he creates the shield and weapon for her, and then leaves her there, but she just kind of like follows him like a lost puppy, and then proves herself by killing some of the xenomorphs and shit like that. And he goes, okay, and then teams up with her. Okay, maybe.
Yeah, like if she was getting surrounded by xenomorphs and he sees her fighting them asses off, like she kills it, like two, maybe 3 by herself.
Fuck, I would give her 1. Like,
I mean, she got lucky in killing that 1.
As an otherwise unarmed human, just killing 1, I would be okay if he was then like, okay. Because, I mean, like, you have to remember, the whole point of this little excursion for them is only to kill 1 xenomorph. That's the goal. Kill 1. So, which, by the way, they denote by carving that symbol into their gear with the acid
and
blood.
their
So it
and
has
their
to
heads.
be.
Yeah.
It has to be weak enough to be scarred by that acid blood for that to work. Just putting that out there.
Oh no, I know that about the armor, but like there's a difference. Like again, it doesn't make sense that the armor would be susceptible to their acid blood and not their weapons. Yes, it should be the other way around. But why, like, that doesn't make fucking sense. That's like you fighting a guy that's made of magma, One Piece. And then trying to cut him with a sword. Of course it's gonna melt. So there's no point in using a fucking sword.
I mean, like, to say that it doesn't make sense, I don't agree with that. Like, as we've gone through this, like, as I think about it, like I said earlier, if the point of this is to throw some juveniles out there and, like, prove that you're worthy, giving them weapons and armor that melts, I'm willing to roll with that, just because, like, this is as hard as it gets. If you can survive this, you're good to roll with us.
Yeah, and
I'm willing to accept that. I don't think that they really sell that. I think they do a really bad job of selling that.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
But it, like, just to your point, like, I'm just making an observation. Like, if that's the goal, like, it makes sense that there should be.
Yeah, and like again, like if they stuck with that, if they stuck with that theme the whole way through, I honestly would have had a great fucking time. I don't know why that stuck with me, but I just couldn't get over that fucking fact. Because I forgot about it. Because again, when I watched it in 2004, I was with my dad and I was just hype as fuck to see the movie.
Sure.
But like now watching it as I'm older and like I kind of have to put somewhat of a critical lens on it. Like I could let a lot of shit slip, but your key fucking tools, like one set doesn't work and the other like works perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's just not a deal breaker for me. I just don't really care. I don't really have anything else to add. Like, I just don't really care about that.
It's fine.
Because like I got exactly what I wanted out of this movie. I had a good time with it because of that, and then just like, let's bring on the next one, see what that brings. I'm sure a lot of badness.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like if I come to this table next week and I'm like, you know what, this movie wasn't that bad, then we might need to have an intervention because maybe I've gone off the deep end.
You definitely gone off the fucking deep end. Like legit, I'll leave the fucking show. You can talk to yourself.
If I come next week and I didn't hate AVP 2, I'm gonna have a good ass reason. And if I don't have a good ass reason, you know I'm on some shit. Like,
I'm gonna fly to Florida and get me whatever the fuck you smoking.
Because I can't. I remember watching that movie and thinking that. Then again, I remember watching MVP and not really liking it. So, I just can't imagine that I'm going to enjoy that movie. This one, I was at least hopeful that I would enjoy it, and I did. I got what I wanted out of it. Is it super good? No, definitely not. But there's aliens, there's predators, they fight. The plot is fine. It gives us a lot of Yautja lore, which is canon, even if this movie isn't.
What the fuck? Why would you say that? You know what? Cut it right now.
So
why would you say that to me?
Because, well, hold on. The lore in the movie is canon, but not from this movie. The lore comes from the comic books, which are canon and don't cause these kinds of problems. Like in the comic books, the weapons melting thing is not a thing. The timelines are totally different. Like all of your problems don't exist in the comics, so it's not as big a deal as you might think.
Fuck it, I'm gonna read the comics. Fuck these movies.
Yeah, they're good, dude. I will here, hold on. Fuck, where is I got you. Hold on. But all that being said, I had fun. Despite the fact that they're not very good, I had fun.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm gonna say this movie. I'm not even gonna like fuck around and give it like an absurd rating like we tend to do. This movie, for me, like you love to rate shit on an enjoyment factor, is like an 8 out of 10.
That's totally fine.
In terms of being a movie, it's like a 5 out of 10.
Yes, I applaud that. I'm glad that you came over to my side very, very begrudgingly and slightly. It's fine. It's fine. Like, you enjoyed the movie for what it is, and like I respect that.
I honestly don't think that my opinion changed all that much over the course of this show. It's just like talking to you helped me refine what I thought.
Yeah.
Like if we went back and listened to this show from the beginning, I don't think that like what I'm saying fundamentally changed all that much. Mm-hmm. It's just like little things like, yeah, despite like I didn't remember everything that happens with the weapons and everything, and once you reminded me all that, I'm like, yeah, you're right, like that doesn't make a ton of sense. Of course, like I said at the beginning, it also I don't care, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, you know, like is the movie good? No, it's better than 20% or whatever it has on Rotten Tomatoes. It's not that bad.
Okay.
The Predator 4 is way worse than this movie. I maintain that. Like that movie's fucking terrible.
Okay.
The plot, because here's the thing. The thing with Predator 4 is like the plot matters. The plot in this movie doesn't fucking matter. You come to watch aliens fight Predator. The plot in Predator 4 is fucking everything. That's what you have to tell me why I showed up.
It's the driving force. I get it.
And the plot in that movie is full of the plot of that movie is Swiss cheese. So that movie is just really fucking bad. That movie might be a 20 or less.
Good.
The only thing that's really great in that movie is the special effects. But like honestly, the special effects have been the real star of the show in all of the Alien and Predator movies. Like special effects are top notch in every single one.
Oh yeah,
except maybe Alien 3. There's some stumbles in that one. Oh, and in Predator 4, there was some big stumbles in that one too. There's CG use since Predator 4 really fucking pissed me off. It's funny too because like you brought up the blood in this movie, the bad CG blood. I didn't even notice,
dude. When they killed Waylon, like legit, I could see the artist drawing the outline of the blood. Like I could see it in my head. It was like he's drawing the outline of this blood oozing out of his mouth. That's what it is. Like, if you were to watch that scene again and look at it, you'd be like, that's CG ass blood.
I believe you. I just didn't notice. So, like, I'll just take your word for it and say that it was bad. But even still, like, the fact that I didn't notice at all, like, I can't say that it colored my opinion at all. So, yeah. It is what it is. At the end of the day, 5 out of 10 movie, critically, 8 out of 10 in terms of enjoyment. I think this movie... Do I still have... I'm going to look up my ratings while you give yours for this movie. What'd you think?
My rating for this movie is a Beverly Hills Cop 3 out of 6.
Okay.
Just for the fact...
It's actually in line with what I said. Okay.
Just for the fact, like, I literally forgot. Like, it's now a gripe for me. Like, he's just tag teaming with this random person who killed an alien. Like, yeah, I get it. She gained your respect because she killed an alien by sheer dumb fucking luck. But for you to go out of your way for this person you think is worthy, like, if you think, like, honestly, if he went by the same standards that the Yautja do for themselves, which all of the other Predator movies they do, he wouldn't have makeshift crafted her any equipment or gear. He would have been like, oh, you a hunter, I'm gonna mark you, I respect you. Here's this gift. He would have given her one thing I guess making the gear and stuff would have been her present. Okay, I'll backstep on that. But yeah, and then he would have left her be because he he sees her as a hunter, but she's still not a part of his faction, a part of his tribe. Like he respects her will to survive, but he's not gonna be like, all right, you rolling with me, you my brother now. Like we gonna take on all these aliens together. Like, nah, it never would have happened. Because all the other predators, all the other Yautja that we've seen, when a human proves themselves, they get the glory of living by them leaving them the fuck alone. Like, that's it. And that's usually after they kill another Yautja.
Well, I mean, we've never seen anything like this. So, I mean, that's true, but
Predator 2.
that's, yeah, but he like literally killed it. No, what I'm saying is we never see them do anything like they do in this movie.
Mhm.
So, like in Predator 2, he kills another Yautja. That's true. But to say that like that's typically what happens, I don't know that that's true because we only see that one other time anyway.
Yeah, you're right. Because Arnold Schwarzenegger killed Homeboy. He blew himself up, and there was no other Yautja to ascertain their approval or respect of his feat. Predator
Right.
2 actually is the only one that we really see that.
Now, it's worth noting that in Predators or Predator 3, they do kill multiple predators in that movie, but no Yautja come in behind them to reward them at all.
Again, yeah.
And in Predator 4, they kill the upgrade predator, but nobody comes in behind them. So
it all depends on if a predator is like, so we have one movie that's non-canon in the movie franchise universe, and we have one movie that is canon. Both of which showing that in the presence of other Yautja, when you prove yourself one way or another by either killing a prey that they deem as worthy or by killing another Yautja in honorable combat, you gain their respect. And again, you get one gift and then they leave you the fuck alone.
Yeah.
Which I think is the greatest gift ever. Like, you can keep the flintlock pistol and the retractable spear just as long as you don't murder me. I'm fine.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair. So I pulled up my tier list again.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just for the sake of remembrance, my original tier list, I had Predator and Alien S tier, Aliens A tier, Alien 3 and Predators B tier, Predator 2 and The Predator C tier, Prometheus and Alien Covenant D tier, AVP and AVP2 F tier, and Alien Resurrection F minus tier.
Jesus Christ.
My new tier list
You're such a piece of shit.
moves AVP 1 up to C tier above Predator 2 only because I enjoyed it more. I don't think that it's necessarily a better movie, but I had more fun. Predator 2 is like fine, but it like I didn't have fun watching that movie, so that's why that is. And then I moved The Predator down to D tier where it belongs. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking the first time.
You're so dumb.
I really considered putting it in F tier. But I don't know that it's, you know what? Yeah, it's F tier. Fuck that. It's absolutely.
Good Lord.
And until we see this movie, it's actually going to be below AVP 2 because I hate that movie. As the weeks have gone on, I just become more bitter that I had to watch that movie. So
sorry.
it's fallen from C tier all the way to F tier below AVP 2. I cannot wait to see where this tier list goes next week after we finish this Alien and Predator saga. And I'm going to try to read the original AVP comic before we reconvene next week. So I'll have all the Alien, all the Predator movies under my belt, and the AVP original comic. And we'll see how it changes, how things go. But until next week, Predator Force Hot Garbage.